Welcome to another Great Cow Basic demonstration. This is on data visualization with Great Cow Basic. So what is data visualization? It lets you see data in an application on your computer from a sensor. And it's about showing that in many different forms. We're going to see a graph. You can actually put it in many different formats, but it's extremely simple. So Microchip have got the data visualizer. You download and install it, and you can capture data from the CDC serial port or the data gateway interface, DGI, and you can monitor power, decode fields, you can visualize raw data, decoded data, etc., using a protocol called the data stream format. And I've implemented that inside of Great Cow Basic. So what does it look like? This is a representation of a graph. The data has come from the microchip pick. It's been translated by Great Cow Basic, and then this has been shown on the screen. What am I going to use to show you this? I'm going to use my trusty Microchip low pin count demo board. Why? Because it's got a sensor on it called a potentiometer, and all I'm going to do is send that data to the visualizer, and I'm going to show you how to set the visualizer up, read the ADC, and show data. So we're going to look at the program, create the visualization, and then call it a day. Let's get straight into my program. Let's start with the program. I've got a program. I'm going to rip through it at speed. I have got defined my chip. It happens to be what's on the bench. Doesn't really matter because it's all about the serial port. I've set up the serial port using PPS. That's here. I'm not going to go into the details of that. And I've set up the baud rate of 9600. The transmit blocking means send all the data out before the buffers. Ensure the buffer is empty and don't delay. And we've got a sensor, and then we've got a potentiometer on port A0. Great. So how do we go about sending the data out? We use a method called data visualization send frame, which is a method, and I say send to that read ADC 12 on that port and a 0. It's a small amount of configuration required for that. I just need to set up a constant to tell it what type of Great Cow Basic serial command to use and its port. There are many different options. You have to read the comments. So this will send the values to the serial port in the format that's required for the data visualization tool. Let me program that. By pressing function key F5, you can use many different methods. It has now programmed it, and it's now sending the data raw in the format to the application. Okay, let's go to my desktop. Select MPLAB data visualization because I have installed it. This is the user interface. Be aware that I have started this more than once this morning and it's quite fast. So we end up with a screen that looks like this. Not too friendly, but let me do some desktop zooming about for you so that you can find what to do. So I'm going to use this little tool. It's live, so let's see if I can get this right. First thing you need to do is create a link, a data stream, a variable stream into that data that's coming from that microcontroller. There's a tab here on the left called variable streamers. Click it, then press new. It brings up the variable streamer. Type in a title, and this is a reference to the streamer that's the data that's coming in, show ADC. It is just a name, it is not the data. The framing mode, because we're using this protocol, we need to call it select one complement and set this to 3 in hex, 0x03. It just tells it that the start of the frame is a 3 and the end is a 252. And that's the way that it works. Add a variable. Our variable, we're going to call it measurement, is a integer 16. It's 2 bytes. And that is absolutely right, because that's what Great Cow Basic will send. Press save. So we've now created a streamer, not attached to a port. It just says that data is going to come in the format of 2 bytes, making a word. In the streamer on top left, select your input port. Well, we know that I've got a TTL USB converter on COM port 4. It says it has started, but it hasn't actually done its. I don't want you to start the plot yet because it will confuse you. You just need to come to the right hand side, click this little arrow here, and set your range to 04095. Why? Because that's the scale of the ADC. Now, the axis here on the left hand side has now scaled appropriately. Now, go into your measurement variable. There's a little down arrow here on the right hand side of it. Plot that variable, and now it has started. If I now rotate the pot, I get values. It's pretty clever stuff. I can now see my potentiometer change its value. If I wanted to see the actual raw values, select the little down arrow and I can send that data to a terminal. And at the bottom, you can actually see the hexadecimal values coming in from GreatCAD Basic. That's its maximum value, and that's its minimum value. And with that, I'm pretty pleased because that works quite well. So let's just recap how to create this. You create a variable streamer, you give it a name in terms of the data that's coming in. You must create your variables, connect your serial port, set your scale, start the process. Job done. It's extremely simple to use, and it will be extremely handy as we move forward. Let's get back to PowerPoint. So we've done that. We've reviewed the GreatCAD Basic program. It just sends data out, formats it up, sends it out. You can have a look at that source code yourself, and we'll call that a wrap.